You talk about influencers. These are influencers, and they're friends of mine. Jack Posobiec. Where's Jack? Jack, who's done a great job.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we are back live here. Human Events Daily, Real America's Voice. We're on with the Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin. Tricia, you were telling us in the previous segment about this firearm that was confiscated at this siege, this violent protest that's going on outside an ICE facility, which is near Chicago. Can you tell us, do we know if this was a long gun, handgun, anything like that?
I'm still getting details, Jack, on what that firearm was. But what we do know is that there's about 200 protesters, 200 rioters around this Broadview facility that's in Chicago. Within that facility is child predators, drug traffickers, those who have committed violent assaults, including against police officers. So these are truly heinous individuals. And there are these rioters outside who are trying to obstruct our law enforcement from entering that facility. And they're trying to cause chaos to operations. But among them was one of those rioters who did have that firearm. He has been arrested and that firearm confiscated. But of course, this is increasingly alarming, Jack, after what we just saw out of our Dallas ICE field office, where that deranged individual opened fire and tried to hunt down our law enforcement. Again, one individual was killed and two others are in critical condition. Those individuals are detainees, were detainees, and we do pray for them today. But we know with that deranged individual from the Dallas ICE field office, he was doing this because he was hell-bent on killing our law enforcement. As much as the media tries to spin this and say otherwise, we know the motivation. We saw those shell casings that had anti-ICE messages on them. He left behind handwritten notes that said he wanted to terrorize ICE agents and bring the ultimate violence to them. We also saw that he was largely inspired by the murder of your friend and so many of our heroes, Charlie Kirk, his murder. He used a similar firearm as well. The format of the attack itself was similar as far as from a rooftop, from a roof that was adjacent to the ICE facility. That's where he was trying to snipe down and rain down these bullets on our law enforcement. And farther, this was very premeditated. He did a lot of research on the Charlie Kirk murder, and we believe that it was very much an inspiration for him. And we are, gosh, Jack, God forbid, we see more copycats of this.
And that's something that I think we're starting to piece out that, you know, because when I first saw the photo, when FBI Director Patel released the photos of those bullets, I have to say myself, like I'm sure so many others, the very first thing we thought of was, my gosh, that looks exactly like the bullets that were used in Charlie's assassination. And you know, you wonder just off the first glance, was this meant to be some kind of copycat message? And then, as you say, the fact that it was a Mauser, the fact that it was a bolt action rifle, the fact that it was similar brand, similar make, slightly different setup, but again, all of these pieces that come together that really seem to show that this was perhaps meant as an homage or something like that in terms of this type of violent act. And of course, then a call for more, a call for expansion. And unfortunately, and studies have shown that when these types of attacks do happen, they can inspire copycats. I hate to say this, but are you tracking more? Is the department tracking more threats like this?
We're certainly tracking more threats like this across the country. I mean, we've seen, of course, at this ICE facility in Chicago that is a potential sticking point there. Portland has had very violent riots as well, Los Angeles, and there seems to be widespread coordination on this. As the president, he ordered an executive order to be tracking down the funding. What are the funding streams that is fueling this violence and this chaos? So this is a whole of government approach. Homeland Security Investigations is working with the FBI. We're working with the Treasury Department to see where this money is coming from. Is it foreign money? Is it domestic? Are there multiple streams of this? But that's what it has to come down to. And we're also working closely with the Department of Justice. How can we be preventing this? And how do we prosecute these individuals to the fullest extent of the law?
And so when you talk about coordination, and of course the president signed several EOs, can you tell us, or if you can, I mean, I understand if there are current things that you want to get into because of investigations, but are you able to tell us, is this something the DHS is now able to bring certain authorities to bear because of those EOs?
I think definitely to a certain extent, but I think that's something that's been more important than even some of those EOs is that President Trump and his cabinet secretaries have really done a fantastic job of breaking down silos in the intelligence community. It used to be when we started 250 days ago that left hand didn't know what right hand was doing. They didn't have certain targets or certain intelligence information that would have been helpful to track down these perpetrators and track down those who are trying to harm Americans. And so that's been incredibly helpful to both Homeland Security, to the FBI, and to other agencies that a lot of Americans won't even consider part of the intelligence apparatus, like the Treasury Department.
Well, that's exactly right. And going after finances is absolutely key. In fact, we interviewed Secretary Bessent a few weeks ago, and he said that 50% of his portfolio is national security or criminal related. And in fact, I know from having done previous investigations and work into this that, you know, it always seems that there's some guy in the back of you talk about the silos, some investigator in the back of one of those Joint Terrorism Task Forces, the JTFs that are across all the major cities, who has done in many cases a lot of the tracking of the information of these individuals in these networks, and yet it's siloed and they can't share it with people because they don't stay in one AOR, they don't stay in one city, they do other things, and they don't share it with other agencies who could then bring those investigative prowess and and potentially prosecution forward. So I absolutely applaud the fact that that you've done that. I hope the JTTFs can be a resource here as well. Obviously, DHS plays a huge role there. Tricia McLaughlin, thank you so much. Where can people go to get more information about what you're putting out and the department?
Absolutely. If you all are on X, go to @DHS.gov, and I'm also on X @Tricia Ohio.
All right, Assistant Secretary Homeland Security Tricia McLaughlin. She's been so open with us. She's been so available, even in the midst of all this heinous chaos and violence that her own department is dealing with. God bless you, Tricia. Thank you for being there, folks. It's very simple. The JTTFs have the information. The information is out there, breaking down the silos. I love hearing this because as a guy who used to be stuck in one of those silos, hoping for some kind of action in the intelligence community, this is exactly the moves that need to be made. Right back, Human Events Daily, Remarkers Voice.